My name is Annika. Welcome to this video. I'm gonna tell you everything you need to know about the Marauders fandom. The baseline knowledge to understand when you get into like the fandom. It can be a little bit confusing sometimes, so this is a video that I wish I had to help explain everything, like the characters and the basic like ideas. I'm not gonna go into the storyline. I can do that in another video if you would like, because as soon as you start diverting from canon, it starts to get really different, right? So I'm assuming going into this video that you have some knowledge of the Harry Potter series. Whether you read the books or watched the movies, either one's fine, but like that's what I'm operating off of. This is not gonna like introduce the whole Harry Potter world to you. I'm going to use the books specifically to like reference off of. I'm gonna be talking about the difference between the books and how things are in the books versus how things are in the Marauders fanon or headcanon. I'm assuming you know a little bit about fandom stuff already, but generally headcanon is like something you have in your head that's like, oh yeah, that definitely happened. Canon is like something that actually happened, like it's written in the books that it actually happened. And fanon is like a popular fan headcanon, so it's not canon. A lot of the fandom believes it to be true. What I need you to do right now is take the idea you have of these characters like James, Lily, Sirius, Remus. Take the idea you have of them from the Harry Potter books and throw that out the window. Just completely discard it. It's not useful to you anymore. Yes, the characters are based off of the books. Like, they're based on these people in the books. But the evolution of them has become so removed from what they are in the Harry Potter series. In the Marauders fandom, Remus is not a professor, Sirius is not a godfather, James isn't a father, James isn't dead, Harry Potter is not even like a thought in a brain for most of this like entire series. Remove them from the dynamics you know them from in the Harry Potter series. Just forget everything that you know about them, and I will reintroduce you to them. How did the Marauders fandom start? You may be asking. Well, I can tell you it's because of Remus and Sirius. Because in The Prisoner of Azkaban, everyone was like, they seem a little bit suspicious, like, they seem to be more than just friends. And then there was a part in the Harry Potter books where it's mentioned that Remus and Sirius lived together for a period. And everyone's like, what happened, like, in that period? Like, definitely something went down. And it just kind of unfurled from there. Right. So for the characters, I'm gonna go into all the important characters for you. I hope I don't miss anything. This fandom is constantly evolving. Like, there's this new ship called Party, which is Peter Pettigrew and Barty Crouch Jr. And I swear to God, last week it wasn't real. It like wasn't a thing until like last week. I'm not even joking. So I like, this is updated now. In the future, I don't know. Some things may have been changed for the characters. PSAs for the characters. We do not like Snape, Severus Snape, or Albus Dumbledore. We just don't like them. I can get into why more later. Snape is just a bully and not great to Lily, and Lily is precious. Albus manipulated 2 generations of Hogwarts students, which is why people are not a huge fan of him. Also, keep in mind that 3 of the 4 main characters are animagi. So that's James Potter, Peter Pettigrew, and Sirius Black. And Remus Lupin, as you all hopefully know, is a werewolf. Alright, so our first character we have is James Potter. Otherwise known as Prongs. His animagus is a stag. He's undyingly loyal and he cares so much. You guys don't understand how much I love James. He's like one of my favorites. I'm gonna say that about everyone. The only one I really mean it about is Evan, but you know, we'll get to that later. He cares so much for all of his friends. Like, he wants to help everyone. He wants to protect his friends. He wants to save his friends. He has the whole thing with like Sirius and like whisking Sirius away from his family. He's like the Gryffindoriest Gryffindor you'll ever meet. He's very chivalrous, kind of guy. I'd be like, can I carry your books for you? In the hallway. People who have just only read the books kind of see James as a bully. And no, stop it. That's not what we're doing here. James is not a bully. Forget that. That's like total bullshit. get that out of your head. I don't want to hear another word about James being a bully because Snape was asking for it. But no, like, actually, James is, like, so protective over his friends, and especially Lily. In almost every version of the Marauder story you will have, whether or not James and Lily get together in the end or not, he's just retaliating against that in the way that he thinks is right. He does get better when he gets older. If you read fics, where he's more like 6th year, 7th year, he's more mature and less like, he fights less. He's so sweet. He's caring. How many times can I say that he's caring? He's so sweet. He's literally like sunshine. He is the sun. People associate him with the sun. He's so optimistic. He's like the dad friend, you know? He looks out for everyone. All right, so for appearance for James, sometimes he's white, sometimes he's South Asian. If he's portrayed as South Asian, he's more specifically Punjabi. He always has dark hair, messy dark hair that's kind of curly, and dark eyes. He also always has the round glasses, the same ones that Harry Potter has in Harry Potter, the series, the book series, you know. James is, like I said, a Gryffindor. He's very, very much a Gryffindor. The sexualities he's, like, people imagine him to have are pansexual, bisexual, and in some cases, like, especially like a few years ago, we're very much into, like, James, the supportive straight friend to Wolfstar, right? I hate that. In my mind, he's pansexual. James is shipped with Lily Evans. That's the canon pairing. He's also shipped with Regulus Black, which is my favorite. They're adorable. Jegulus. So next we have Sirius Black. Sirius Black is, he's an animagus as well. He's a Gryffindor. His animagus form is a big black dog. Sirius is like an icon. Sirius is a troublemaker, he's alternative, he's a Bowie lover. He definitely does not agree with his family. His family is very much like pure blood, like whatever. Sometimes him and his brother get along and sometimes they don't, but regardless of if they like get along or not, their relationship is always complicated. Regulus is Sirius's brother. And you can imagine the dynamics that brings in, like, when James is, like, dating Regulus, and then Sirius is James's best friend, and they're all like, oh. Sirius cares so much, but doesn't know how to handle his emotions at all. He's the worst with that. Really, he really is not emotionally intelligent. He, you know, kind of like, come on, man. He's the life of the party vibes. He's, like, you know when you go to a party, or, like, you see a movie with a party in it, and, like, this, like, the cool guy walks in with, like, his hands up, he's like, yeah! That's Sirius. Sirius also will act without thinking about what his actions will do to other people. He won't think about how what he's doing will affect the people he cares about. And he speaks French. Both of the Black brothers do, but the Black family does. As for appearance, he's almost always white and a very pale white, very like pale. He has blue eyes and then like shoulder length, black, like wavy-ish hair. He's really into Muggle fashion. Has kind of like an alt gothy, not like goth, but like kinda like in that vein. So his sexuality headcanons are bisexual or gay. Sometimes he's also gender fluid and will use he, they pronouns. The things that I mentioned, I'm saying, like, I've also seen, like, trans Sirius. I've seen every version of Sirius you can think. I'm just mentioning the most common ones. So gay and bisexual are his sexuality headcanons, and then he's also headcanoned to be gender fluid a lot of the time. He's shipped with Remus Lupin. Like, seriously? Haha, get it? I'm so disappointed in myself. The Marauders fandom is built off of Wolfstar, which is Sirius and Remus. It's a requirement for you to ship Wolfstar if you're gonna be in the Marauders fandom. Next up, we got Remus Lupin. Otherwise known as Moony. He is a werewolf, as you all know. He's not an animagus because of this. Remus is the studious one. He's like the responsible one, even though he's not responsible at all. Maybe like the sensible one would be like more accurate, because he's the sensible one. He's really into secrets. Just, I have written secrets, bro, secrets. Very much into secrets, this Remus Lupin. He's also very emotionally constipated, which makes the relationship between him and Sirius so frustrating sometimes because, like, it's like, come on, just talk about your feelings. Don't just let them guess. I swear to God. Gets me, like, so annoyed sometimes. He's quiet, like, I feel like he's amused all the time by the other Marauders. Like, you know, if you, like, read something and it, like, describes as, like, his mouth, like, was twitching with amusement or something, that's Remus to Peter, James, and Sirius 90% of the time. Depending on what headcanon you go by, he either was always very studious, or he had dyslexia or some kind of, like, learning disability that he overcame to, or, like, adapted to in order to become studious. Yeah. Sometimes he grew up in an orphanage, sometimes he didn't. It depends on the fic. Canonically, his dad offed himself when Remus was bitten by a werewolf. So sometimes Remus is, like, living with just his mom. Sometimes his mom gave him up because his mom is canonically a muggle. So she doesn't know what to do. Other times, like one of my favorite fics, he is raised by his mom and his dad. It's a very happy family. It really depends. Remus is also the Casanova of Gryffindor Tower because everyone was in love with him at some point. So for appearance, Remus is normally white. He normally either has blonde or brown, curly, short hair. He has a bunch of scars everywhere from being a werewolf. He normally has at least one across his face or somewhere on his face. And he has brown eyes, like coffee colored. That's such a, like, a weird thing to say because coffee can be literally any color on the spectrum of browns depending on how much cream you put in it. For sexuality, most of the time he's headcanon as gay, like strictly gay, just gay. There have been some instances where I've seen bi Remus, but in my experience he's, like, always gay. And he's shipped with Sirius Black. Exclusively, right. So the last Marauder we're gonna get into is Peter Pettigrew. Otherwise known as Wormtail. His animagus is a rat, hence the name Wormtail, because his tail looks like a worm, I guess. There's two sides to Peter. There's the canonical side, and then there's the non-canonical side. I prefer the non-canonical side, but the canonical version of Peter is the version that betrayed his friends. And that version of Peter is timid, he's small, he's looked over. He's so afraid of not being included that he's walking over eggshells the entire time, just so that he can fit in. That makes him miserable. While non-canonical Peter, he's my favorite. I love non-canonical Peter. Really, he's, like, the best. Like, if Peter never betrayed his family. This Peter is sarcastic, you know, everyone expects him to be, like, insignificant and looked over, but he's not, and he uses that to his advantage. He's so funny, just, like, dry humor. An icon, truly. I have a quote. Stop it, this is my favorite fic, don't judge me. Find it. I printed it. I want to make the record clear. I printed it before the author said that we couldn't print it. Although I have beef with the author right now. Massive beef. I'll read you this quote. It's from Just Lovers Like We Were Supposed to Be. Act 5, Part 1. Are you ready? This is when James and Regulus are dating, but, like, Regulus breaks up with him and Peter's like, yo, get back here with James. So when Peter abruptly plops down in the chair next to him at the library, Regulus only stares at him. Peter stares back. It's very quiet between them, and neither boy blinks. What? Regulus asks, finally mildly irritated that he's the one to break the silence. James didn't send me. Peter pauses, then adds, or Sirius. Regulus arches an eyebrow. I actually find myself believing that, because sending you would be rather pointless. I know. I'm so unassuming and pointless. I have no impact whatsoever, Peter says with a loud dramatic sigh. Then he plops his elbow on the table and smiles at Regulus. I've seen him naked, you know. James, I mean. Regulus gives a startled blink, rearing back a little, not at all expecting that. His brain has hit a brick wall. What? James. Naked. Peter recaps innocently. I've seen it. A few times, in fact. Now, obviously, he's a menace to society walking around being as fit as he is. But let me tell you, you have not experienced the true delights of life if you haven't seen James naked at least once. I must inform you, regretfully, with full reliability, that you have not lived yet without seeing it. What? Regulus repeats, his brain rolling down a hill somewhere while he desperately chases after it. Peter twitches his nose, eyes sparkling. James. Naked. You haven't lived because you haven't seen it. Still with me? Yes, Regulus rasps. He has a birthmark on his inner thigh. The left one, I think. Of course, I knew that before I ever saw him naked, because he showed us all. He swears it's in the shape of a heart, but if I'm to be completely honest, it looks a bit like a wonky chicken. And no one has the heart to tell him, Peter says, tapping his fingers idly against his cheek. I'd say it's a good spot for a mouth. Perfect size if you care for that sort of thing. Mouth, Regulus repeats, staring at him without even really seeing him at all. His brain is gone. Size? Well, it's not that big, Peter tells him, waving his hand casually as if to say, you know what I mean. By Merlin, Regulus does not know what he means, and it's fucking killing him. You mean the birthmark isn't big? Well, what else would I be talking about? Peter tilts his head, raising his eyebrows. That, I don't, Regulus gives up. Peter looks amused. Oh, do you mean his cock? Regulus makes a noise that's not really human-like in quality. It's more like a wounded animal wheezing in a curled up ball as it goes off into a corner and dies. His brain is just one loud sound of wailing. Somewhere in the distance, someone is weeping. Regulus thinks it might be him. No, that's bigger than his birthmark, Peter informs him, and a million questions fly through Regulus's mind immediately, but he is fortunately not stable enough to voice any of them. This is probably for the best, as not one of them was even remotely appropriate. Although, I reckon that's a good spot for a mouth, too, if you care for that sort of thing. Regulus cares for that sort of thing. Very much. He can't even begin to express how much. Well, Peter says cheerfully, tapping his hand to the table as he pushes to his feet. Nice talking to you, mate. I'll leave you to your thoughts. Literally? Peter Pettigrew is an icon. So for appearance, Peter Pettigrew is plus size. He's the only canonical plus size character in the Marauders age. It's really important that if they're a minority in canon that we keep that in the Marauders fandom. So Peter is plus sized. He also has short blonde or brown hair, blue eyes. Some people make him skinny, but that's just not the case. He is fat. Peter is fat. If you're ever wondering what would Peter look like? Just look up Louis Capaldi. That's literally just Peter. Peter is Louis Capaldi in every single way. As for sexuality, Peter doesn't really get one. Some people say that he's aromantic and asexual. Other people find that problematic because you make the only canonical plus-size character aromantic and asexual that can perpetuate bad stereotypes. Sometimes he's straight, sometimes he's bi. It really depends on the person. Peter is shipped with no one recently, Barty Crouch Jr. and Evan Rosier a little, but he doesn't really get anyone. So those are the main four, but there are more people. I'm gonna split it up by friend group. These characters are not the Marauders. I mean, they are, but they're not the main four, but they are still very important to most storylines that you'll find in the Marauders fandom. So first off, we have the Valkyries. They are also known as the Gryffindor girls. I didn't know that they were called the Valkyries until a few weeks ago, so that's kind of new to me, but they're the Gryffindor girls. First up, we have Lily Evans. And Lily Evans is headstrong, she's smart. She basically is a redhead. Everything a stereotypical redhead is, that is Lily. She's ferocious, feisty, the mom of the group. As for appearance, she has long red hair, green eyes. She's also the other plus-size character that's Fandom. She's canonically not plus-size, but I love plus-size Lily. She's the other person that people like to think of as plus-size. As for sexuality, She's headcanon as being a lesbian, sometimes bisexual, and sometimes even straight. I prefer lesbian the most, but of course, if you're going with canon compliant, you have to have her have some attraction to men. Gross. So she's shipped with James Potter, of course. Mary McDonald and Pandora, last name unknown, which we will get into. Next we have Mary McDonald. Mary is outgoing, she's protective over her friends, she's really into like muggle fashion and stuff. She's kind of the female version of Sirius Black. Everyone has kind of agreed that she and Sirius date at some point, but they're never endgame. She is black, light-skinned, she has dark curly hair, it's normally natural, shoulder length, and she has dark eyes. Her sexuality is most often headcanoned as bisexual. Really, she's bisexual. Like, that's it. She's shipped with Lily Evans, Pandora, and sometimes Peter. I'm not a fan of Peter and Mary, but like it exists. Last girl we have in our Gryffindor girls group, the Valkyries, is Marlene McKinnon. Marlene McKinnon is sporty, she worships women. She's like dry humor, gay panic defined. Oh my gosh. Headstrong, girl boss, gatekeep, gaslight, for real. She's a Quidditch boss, so she's a chaser. Forgot to mention earlier that James is also a chaser. James is the captain, but like, low-key, maybe it should have been Marlene. As for appearance, she is always blonde. Sometimes she's white and sometimes she's East Asian. If she's white, then she has blue eyes, and if she's Asian, then she has brown eyes. But she's always blonde. As for sexuality, she's a lesbian. Really, there's nothing else you could ever imagine Marlene McKinnon to be. She's just a lesbian. These Gryffindor girls, these three, they aren't really friends with the Marauders, with James, Peter, Sirius, and Remus, until like 5th, 6th, 7th year. But once you get to those older years, they really become one group, like enmeshed. The next friend group we have are the Slytherin Skittles. Dear Lord, these guys are newer. While these characters have pretty much always been in the Marauders fandom, they've never really gotten a ton of attention, and they've always mostly been like bad people. That goes for most of the characters here. They are all Slytherins except for one Ravenclaw, and they're called the Slytherin Skittles because they're all gay. Yeah, so very gay. First up we have Remus Black. Regulus, what can I even like say about Regulus? Regulus is insecure, sarcastic, mean, he cannot swim. But he's also loving. When he cares for someone, he cares for them so much with all of his heart. So Sirius rebelled against his parents and their ideology, and Regulus conformed. Whether he actually believed in it or not, that's up for debate. I like to think he did not. But he did conform. He like listened to his parents. He definitely writes poetry, kind of a sad boy vibes. Would love Conan Gray. Like every single song that Conan Gray has is like Regulus. Canonically, he's a Death Eater, which is not a slay, but canonically he did switch sides. He discovered the first Horcrux and tried to destroy Voldemort. But you know, he doesn't have to be a Death Eater. That's the nice thing about non-canon compliant things. That's like the wonderful thing about them. After he finds the first Horcrux, he does die, unfortunately. Yeah, he dies because a bunch of like undead people pull him into the water, into a lake, and like drown him. So he gets a lot of drowning jokes, even though like probably he could swim. Maybe he still gets drowning jokes because he died in a body of water. Regulus was a Seeker as well, so there's like a whole like, ooh, Slytherin Seeker versus Gryffindor Chaser with like James and stuff. As for appearance, he's literally Timothée Chalamet. Think of Timothée Chalamet in Lady Bird or Call Me By Your Name. That is Regulus. Or for Death Eater Regulus, we can go look at Timothée Chalamet in Dune. As for sexuality, most of the time he's gay. And he's also headcanon about like 50% of the time. It's really 50-50 whether or not you get this. He's headcanon as being trans, female to male. I love trans Regulus like so much with all my dear heart. Any of these characters can be anything you want them to be. Regulus is shipped with James Potter, Barty Crouch Jr. Recently he's been shipped with Lily Evans, but only when it's in a throuple with James. It's never just Lily and Regulus, it's Lily, Regulus, and James. That James has to be there. The next person we have is Barty Crouch Jr. Barty Crouch Jr. He's one of my favorites. I love him. He's sarcastic. He teases his friends so much. He flirts with everyone. He hates his dad. He's canonically a Death Eater, which is not a slay. Canonically, he was the one who tortured Neville's parents, but we don't have to pay attention to that. You know, it doesn't really matter. At this point in the fandom, you can really tell that the fans stopped caring about what's canon and not canon, because he's just so baby girl. As for appearance, Barty is white, brown hair, so fucking hot. Are you kidding me? I made him a lock screen a while back because why wouldn't I? Look at this man. Look at him. Look at that man. Like, come on. As for sexuality, he's bisexual most of the time. He's shipped with Evan Rosier and Remus Black. Evan, my love, my light, my life. We're doing Evan Rosier next. He's one of my favorite people ever. He's like my favorite person in this fandom. He had an abusive dad. What else? Like, you know, he's just like Evan. He's like Evan. How do you describe him besides he's Evan? He's literally just Evan. And he's my favorite, so you better fucking like him or I will find you. He's funny, smart, really loyal, really protective, but like in like a low-key way. Like, he definitely threatened James a little bit when him and Regulus started dating. Yeah, Evan will definitely mess with you. As for appearance, sometimes he's black and sometimes he's white. He always has blonde hair though, and if he's black, then he has platinum blonde hair, and if he's white, he has dirty blonde hair. And he always has blue or green eyes, regardless of skin color. Evan is gay or bisexual most of the time. He's also asexual a lot of the time. And Evan is shipped with Barty Crouch Jr. Next we have Pandora, last name unknown. Pandora, her, canonically, the only last name we have for her is Lovegood, but she's not a Lovegood until she gets married. We're not gonna call her Pandora Lovegood even though she's not a Lovegood yet. It was my understanding that we had decided that she was a Lestrange and she was just gonna be Pandora Lestrange. Then, suddenly, out of nowhere, actually, it probably came out of somewhere, I don't know, suddenly, there was like a whole thing where like, they're like, oh, Pandora and Evan are definitely twins. So now there's like Pandora Rosier. It really depends on what you want, what you like look for. It depends. It depends on the person you ask. She's Luna's mom. She's whimsical. She's kind of like Luna, honestly, but like not as weird. Really protective over her friends. She's loyal. She looks like a cinnamon roll who will definitely kill you if you even glance at her friends the wrong way. She's really, really smart. In fanon, people say that she helped Regulus find the first Horcrux. And she is blonde with blue eyes. Pandora is pansexual. She's shipped with Lily Evans, Mary McDonald, and obviously Xenophilius, who she ends up marrying in canon, but honestly, I've never seen Xenophilius in a fic. I've seen him once. One time I've seen him as a character in a Marauders fic. That's it. Never, and I read a lot of fanfiction, guys. So next we have Dorcas Meadows. She's also a year older than the rest of the Skittles, so Dorcas is in the same year as James, Peter, Remus, and Sirius. Regulus, Barty, Evan, and Pandora are all a year younger. Dorcas is fierce, she's so cool. In canon, Voldemort killed her personally, which is like icon behavior. She's so powerful that this guy had to come kill her personally. Are you kidding? She's a Slytherin, but in All the Young Dudes, which is a fic that I'll get into later, I think she's a Hufflepuff in that one, but you don't just ignore that because she's a Slytherin. She also definitely worships women, same as Marlene, and worships Marlene specifically. They're a great pair. As for appearance, she's dark-skinned, she has long, dark hair in braids, and dark eyes. She's a lesbian, also like just a lesbian, there's nothing else. And she's shipped with Marlene McKinnon. So that's it for the main characters. Now we have these like side characters that it's kind of important that you know their names and a little bit of information, but like not anything else. So we have, first off, Euphemia and Fleamont Potter. or Effie and Monty. They're James's parents, and they're so wonderful. They're so nice. They're such amazing people, honestly. They took in Sirius when Sirius ran away, and in some scenarios, we see them take in Regulus as well. Next, and total opposite, we have Walburga and Orion Black. They're Regulus and Sirius's parents. They're really into the blood supremacy stuff. They're really abusive. They're really into the dark arts. Right, guys, so because I'm a total idiot, my camera like stopped working halfway through and I forgot to mention the rest of the other side characters. So we're gonna go through that really fast, and excuse how I look because I am very tired. It's like 2 a.m. First I need to finish what I was saying about Walburga and Orion, and that is that most fanfictions or things that you will see in this fandom will have a storyline that shows and follows how Sirius and Regulus deal with the abuse in that household. Other important people to remember are the Black sisters, that's Andromeda, Narcissa, and Bellatrix. You'll know Andromeda, she's Tonks's mom from the Nymphadora Tonks from the series, the Harry Potter series. Andromeda is cool. She got disowned because she married a Muggleborn. Narcissa, you know, Narcissa is Draco's mom. Narcissa is sometimes cool, and Bellatrix is not cool. Cool as in how accepting are they of Sirius and his adventures, and also Regulus as well. We also have Emmeline Vance. She is like thrown in sometimes with the Gryffindor girls, but like not often enough for me to include them in there. We have Benji Fenwick. He's like a gay character who's normally, like his role is normally as like a rival love interest for like Remus or something. We have Grant Chapman. Grant Chapman is a character in All the Young Dudes. He's an icon. He's a moment. He's like, I love him. It's hard to explain who he is without reading All the Young Dudes. I will get to All the Young Dudes. What you need to know about Grant Chapman is that he is the man that Remus was in a relationship with while Sirius was in Azkaban. Mulciber and Avery, they don't really have last names or first names. I don't know if those are their last names or their first names. I think they're their last names, actually. They don't have first names, but they're both Slytherin bullies from James's year. Snape, you know, everyone hates Snape in this fandom. It's like a requirement, I think. If you like Snape, you're not a Marauders fan. And that's just like the end of the story. There's no getting around that. I'm kind of too tired to go into why right now, but if you guys want, I can make a video about why Marauders fans hate Snape. Other characters, Alice Fortescue, sometimes she has a different last name. That's Neville's mom. Frank Longbottom, that's Neville's dad. Frank Longbottom is like a role model for James and like sometimes someone who like is a gay awakening for James. Minerva McGonagall, or also known as Minnie in like the Marauders will call Minerva McGonagall Minnie. We have Poppy Pomfrey, that's Madame Pomfrey. She's important because she will heal Remus after all of his full moons, so she becomes a very prominent like mother figure for him. Boris Slughorn's big, Lucius Malfoy can be big. Great, let's move on to the ships that I did record when I was supposed to, so hope you enjoyed. Sorry about the quality and the mess and how tired I am. I want to go to sleep. It's so late. So ships. Here's the thing with ships. There's a bunch of names that are different, you know, like Jegulus, Panda Lily, you know, there's so many different names. There's names like Wolfstar, that's like two different like symbols that represent them. Jegulus, like name mashes. The problem with Wolfstar type ship names is that it can get confusing because, you know, Star Chaser is Regulus and James, Star being Regulus, Chaser being James. But Star could also be Sirius, so really you could be having like Sirius and James. Someone could like misunderstand you and think that it's Sirius and James. It's a lot. I'll put it all on the screen, all the ships I can think of, with their people and their pairings and like whatever. Oh yeah, I have to talk about Party and Party Van. That's Barty Crouch Jr., Peter Pettigrew, and Evan Rosier. That's gotten pretty popular lately. TikTok, guys. I think it's TikTok. Like, because of TikTok, the fandom has boomed. I'm like tempted to be like, oh, it's just a joke, haha, it's not real. But Jegulus heard it as a joke, so you cannot really say that. Alright, now I have some homework. Before we do fun things, we need to go over homework. I need you to read All the Young Dudes by Miss King Bean 89. That's on AO3. I'll leave it linked in the description. That's the canon compliant Marauders fanfiction. It will go through everything. Most of the inside jokes that we have in this fandom are in there. read it, you will understand most of the things that people are talking about. The next thing I need you to do is read Just Lovers Like We Were Supposed to Be by zeppazariel or bizzarstars. I did delete their account off of AO3, so I will leave like a PDF version and an EPUB version linked. I'll try my best to do that. I don't know if it will work. I'll try. Otherwise, I'll find another place where it was like copy and pasted. And I would read that because Just Lovers gives you an idea of what the fans think of the characters these days. Like, the way that the characters are in Just Lovers is how they are in the minds of the fans nowadays. So that's why you need to read Just Lovers. Just Lovers is not canon compliant. It's happy. There's Jegulus, there's Mary Lily, there's Dorleen. There's also Rose Killer. My love. I love Rose Killer. And that's it. Oh wait, we do TikToks. I asked my TikTok for advice on what information you need to know going into the fandom, and I have it here for you. Ash says, be prepared to cry yourself to sleep and cry when you wake up, and also cry all day because everything will remind you of them. Robin says, as long as it's moral, you're allowed to ship whoever you want, don't let anyone tell you otherwise. Someone else says, ship whatever you want, not problematic of course, but I find the best ships other than the mains are Noble Flower, which is Alice and Narcissa, and Quill Killer, which is Bellatrix and Rita Skeeter. Pebble, which is Peter and Sybil, Sybil Trelawney. Also be prepared for little to no happy ending in general, but especially for Rose Killer and Jegulus. Non-incestuous / age gap fics are all fair game, but you will get weird looks if you don't ship Wolfstar. And like I said, I think it's like a requirement to ship Wolfstar in this fandom. If you like J.K. Rowling, you will be expelled from the fandom. People will fight over Jegulus or Jilly, but Jegulily is awesome, and I disagree. But it is nice that there's a third option that has all three of them. I've only read one fic like that, and it was really short. It was like 500 words, so I haven't really even read a fic. I haven't given them a shot, so I don't know why I'm saying I don't like it, but like, Lily's a lesbian in my eyes. Someone else says, therapy. One word, therapy. You need therapy or a good book. Once you join, there's no escaping. We also have, if you read fanfics, just know you're basically reading obituaries with most of them. Like, especially the canon compliant ones, people are gonna die. You gotta remember that. Like, everyone dies except for Mary and Remus and Barty and Sirius. Out of everyone, those are the only people who are left. Someone else says, can mix up any ship you want and everyone will support you, but don't ever think of touching upon Wolfstar, they are sacred. Yes, as I keep saying, Wolfstar started this fandom. A lot of the fandom is headcanon based, so people will argue over everything as a result, so just do you and don't fall for the shipbait war. People get angry about ships very fast. I find people get super angry if you don't ship Jilly. People are just in disbelief if you don't ship Wolfstar. But you have to ship Wolfstar. You don't understand, but you have to. Like, there's no way around it. Nobody likes Snape, and Wolfstar is pretty much a given. That's it. Those are the TikToks. My camera keeps dying. I'm so stressed. People keep interrupting me. I'm so stressed. Please like and subscribe. I love you. I love you very much. I would love to make videos like this more, and I can only do that if you help me and subscribe and like and send this video to all your Marauders friends because they'll love it. I know, like, I like watching videos of stuff that I already know, so like, you don't even have to be a beginner to watch this. Yeah, this has been an amazing time, kind of stressful, but you know, it's fine. And I love you, and I'll see you all soon, hopefully. Hopefully it won't be another 3 months before I post something. Adios.